An honest look at the Undecember Rebirth comeback through the lens of a solo self-found hardcore player. That's what this video is about. Undecember recently had, quote, went offline permanently, and it was the last time I expected to hear about it. But recently it's come back, with other games on delay. I had to jump in. So, let's get cozy into the campaign. The campaign for many is expected to be a shorter tutorial before large RNG grinds in map areas. Let's see what we learn in Act 1. Looks like we get a unique on the way to town. Awesome. We'll slot that and get a strike skill for it. Frostwave is looking cool to me. Right away, it feels overpowered. The sword, skill, or just monster HP needs to be adjusted. I think it's also meant to be a fun get-back in here event, so I'll look past it for now. Hopefully, at progression points when weight starts to be felt, it'll smooth out. The base movement speed feels good. It should be about what an average person can run without getting tired for the game's sake. Looks like you get more skill gems by chest, not quest, but there are some vendors with some. Initially, it looks like you get to choose whatever you want, reducing or eliminating any kind of leveling strategy. That's something I feel gamers won't enjoy. The standard has been to choose from a selection at milestones. Movement speed on boots, let's go. Let's also max damage and try to be dual-wielding Andes. Various currencies you get right away that do similar things from Path of Exile. I like to see that. But unfortunately, it didn't seem I could use any of them in the campaign. So my whole experience, they cluttered inventory. The game isn't one of clicking easily from one thing to the next or leveling an item. A gem or a skill point is more involved than other action role plays. You hate to see it right away, it has a daily login reward. These are a joke in every game. You should want to log into a good game anyway. They've got to do something with these controls. Can't even cope on the first boss. It's punishing how you have to click to rotate it. In most games, if you click, you continue onward if you let go. But something weird about this is if you let go, you stop moving. You don't all the time move to where your mouse was targeted that you intended. It does not give a lot of time to mouse over the boss while trying to stay on the move. It's just a fundamental problem with the game that needs to be fixed before I take it seriously. I'd like to see the devs use the correct symbol for the zodiac, the skill tree in the game. You spend a lot of time in here early on, too often, then you're not in it near enough later on. As the game ramped harder, it still gives 1 point per level. The nodes aren't meaningful enough for 1 point per level to me. That being said, this was near the only intuitive progression system in the game. Also, a pop-up giving an overview of what each of these trees are would be better than clicking through them. In Act 2, things were uneventful. Grind your way through the cutscenes and monsters trying to jump on you. The game has good monster density, but that backfires as these quest NPCs are placed by hordes of monsters you need to clear before spamming through the dialogue works. The Act 3 town, which resembles Diablo 2's Kurast, feels a bit cheesy to me. I get that the 90s were iconic, but if developers want players to feel like they're experiencing something new, they need to let these old references go. It's the mechanics that are important to carry over. Moving on in Act 3, none of these side quests were challenging. Most were annoying to click on with so many monsters near. I thought it felt better to start running past them, which wasn't helpful. It's taking a lot of time already, and on top of that, you are locked in these menus away from the game. So often it's bad. It's lazy programming. Just make a GUI do everything. We didn't know dragging and dropping gems into sockets on your gear while you were moving in Path of Exile was so high-tech. Now, I guess we know. The skill progression and itemization in this game appears less stellar than its graphics. Devs have to know where to put priorities, player experience above all. In Act 4, we get some Oblivion music nostalgia. Something that's bad are talking to these NPCs over and over again. It's like you talk to one, it completes a quest, you run off, but then it shows up 3 seconds later to talk to them again. Then you get a cutscene. Just include what's in the cutscene in the dialogue I can skip. It isn't hard, it gets monotonous fast in these ARPGs. One good thing is, you find helpful uniques. It wasn't bad, but wasn't too easy to cap resistances as you make it to Act 4 or 5. Extra damage types are good, but some games have too many types, I thought, like Last Epoch. So this ARPG hits a good balance. Itemization could be more meaningful if they remove the orbs that give a permanent boost to these stats. Let's skip ahead a bit. Mechanics like this started showing up later that give resources. In my opinion, these resources could be obtained elsewhere. In the campaign, where time is critical, things like this slow it down, leading to a boss with too many arena mechanics. The game is unbalanced and this boss died right away. If less emphasis were placed on it, and it had less attacks, it would have felt fine. Without much warning, you go from fighting easy side bosses to Sirius himself. I feel like I progressed items fine, then this giant time sink appears.
Throw in the flashback!
It wasn't so much the difficulty than the time required. I'm already ready as a player for the acts to be done by now. This better be it, I thought to myself. It wasn't. However, this game got long-winded fast. So many cutscenes. Cutscenes into dialogue, into cutscenes. The lore is so uninteresting in every action roleplay. Devs have to learn. We are frantic to skip this stuff. Oh great, a side area. In the campaign? Come on. Okay, so some of these later bosses were fun. Just too long. It's about dodging a trick or two with these campaign bosses, but sometimes during the fight, no matter where you were knocked back or hit. And that's okay if it's not threatening. It's a fire boss, and my ice skill should be doing more damage against it. If a boss had a weakness to an element, that would be good for the game. It can help control where and which builds excel at content, if needed. It's evident I don't think they've thought that far. Getting a same experience, no matter what you play, is dull, and leaves little room for a meta, at least an interesting one, to form. I did look at using the Frost Slam skill, but in this game each skill needs 6 links activated in the terrible side panel individually, requiring 750 clicks each skill, so I didn't bother. The whole game is just the tutorial. It's agonizingly long. I hope it's over soon. It keeps feeling like it's about to be done. Then I can hit mid-game and zoom, but it just keeps going, so grind on. I'm sure something fun must be coming up in this hyped revamp. Still can't change my gear. That feels bad. Something must help more here. Ah yes, jewels. I have some and some sockets. Let's try to drag them in. No. Drag them. Drag them in. Not working. I must have to do something. Here, a station for it. Not quite intuitive. Let's see if a new player, a solo self-found path of exile hardcore veteran, can figure it out. Can't be that hard. Let's see. A sword, no. Looks like you have to take off the item. Just taking so long to do this already. Okay, the item is here. Where is the jewel? Add jewel. Equip. Go. Tutorial. Yes. Come on, where is it? Okay, there is a side panel change button. Interesting. Nothing here. Let's see if the wiki can help out. So there isn't a wiki, but there is this. Taking a look. It does not directly state how to do it. Wait, it has to be sculpted. Okay, let's sculpt it, then maybe it shows up in the side panel. Confirm sculpting, okay. Now, let's add my item. Sheesh. There is no jewel. I give up. Says it's not sculpted, but I just thought I did. They have to wonder why this game is empty. Players need to be able to do those upgrades far easier, or we're just not interested in the game. My build at this point is suffering. Maybe I should have kept using a bow for this game. I feel like I've clicked nothing but damage, but the sudden weight increase is just terrible, without the game giving you anything in return to amp yourself against it. Combined with the poor movement, it's just about unbearable. Oh, come on. You just can't have it that it progresses the quest once you click. Stop attacking. Come on. Oh, for God's sake. Thank God. This is awful. I guess clicking nothing but critical damage and cold damage, and melee damage didn't work. Area of effect by this point should have been larger, but I clicked every increased percent that there was. Think that I would, in the end, like to play this junk on the regular. Don't get baited, gamer. Definitely not worth it out of 10. They should have spent their time making the campaign shorter by days, and interesting, randomized, map-like grinding areas, then final bosses. Clicking through person to person, quest to quest like that just isn't interesting. Everyone skips those cutscenes or sometimes even the content that triggers them if possible. No one wants an intro past a few hours. Then you should feel like you're free to go explore the sandbox and know what to do to progress. Undecember. Unironically, the same game that failed. Failing again. Campaign? More like campaign. Honestly, it's safe to skip this one. If you enjoyed this review and want more like it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay tuned. Welcome to the channel. I'm Uriel, bringing you action RPG reviews, news, and Path of Exile builds. Stick around, there's a lot more to come.